All right. Thank you so much, Patricia, for being here with me today to do a surrendering to the soul episode. And first of all, thank you because I know you're super busy with everything that is coming into you. Probably by the time you guys are listening to this, Patricia will be traveling in Europe. She has many things coming up, and maybe later on you can share a little bit of that as well. Or maybe in the future you come back and then you tell us how it went and what's the next plans in the next little while. But for now, yes, I want to say thank you for accommodating with your schedule because I know how, like when you have trips coming up and especially with people that are coming to you, with you for spiritual retreats and spiritual adventures, let's call it that way. You are extremely busy. So thank you for
My
doing
pleasure.
that.
My pleasure to be here with you. Thank you for the invitation.
Yes. And well, let's dive in. I have this question for you. Like I have been asking to other guests in the podcast because we know this journey of discovering, of self-discovering could be very challenging. And as being as a ups and downs, it's full of ups and downs and a lot of darkness, a lot of lightness. And it's always very joyful for me, and I believe it's for others too, to learn about other stories, right? The other side, how it went, and then we discover that we all have something in common, right? There's a moment that we all feel very lonely. So that's why I decided to do this podcast because the missing piece, that's something we all have in common. It seems like at some point of our lives, of our existence, even when it's an illusion, we are looking for something external. We ended up thinking that we're going to find something in that illusion that we're going through. And I'm wondering if that was the case for you. I'm wondering if you have been looking for a missing piece.
Well, Jean, I think that since the moment we born, we are missing that missing piece because we come like a little seed from the darkness in the middle of the womb, and it's like a seed in the earth, in the land. And the story of the humanity, it's that seed growing up looking for the sun. See, that seed that comes from the darkness, it's looking for the sun, it's looking for the light. So in order to enlighten self, it needs to look for the sun. So since the moment we born as babies, we are looking for the Father. We are looking for the sun. We are looking for that. You mentioned it before. It's between darkness and the light. So it is a constantly search that we're doing since the moment we born, because we have the idea that we were separated from that. So when you start looking outside, as you said before, then there is a moment in your life that you realize that you're looking in the wrong place because you're looking outside. So in that moment, you start looking inside. And when you start looking inside, you realize that all the galaxy, all the sun, all the feather, all the stars, everything in the cosmic world, it is inside. So the sun and the mother is inside. The light and the darkness is inside. So then when you realize that, then you can recognize yourself as a complete person. And that is the moment where you really enlighten yourself, because you realize that you were, that was the path you had to go. You had to discover that by yourself. And this never ends at all, because every time we are working with our balance, we're inside balance, we realize that we need the day and we need also the night. We need the sun and we need the moon. It's always recycling. We need the darkness, we need the lightness. It's a process that never ends, because this is a world that has it's like polarized, and this is part of what we want. We only can transcend this when we become just the soul, the energy, and we go to another dimension. And in this dimension, which is where we're working right now as a human beings, we are realizing that we can start moving into different dimensions, conscious and unconsciously. So that means that we can transcend the idea of time, because time doesn't exist. So when we get there, when we're getting close to this kind of different planes, different fields, different levels, you realize that there you are just one. You're one with the divineness, and that's the real search of human beings, being one with the divineness, and that is happening right now for many people, because we are realizing that everything is inside. Inside is also where you can connect with other dimensions, and you can be one. And when you're one, you don't need to look for anything else.
Yes. Okay. What a beautiful short answer to everything. So have you been looking for that missing piece into the external to find out that it was in the inside?
Of course.
You're telling your own journey.
We all have been looking for that, because that's the nature of human beings.
Yes.
When we born, we start, looking for references, and first we look for mom for the protection, and then we look and the nutrition, and then we look for the father, and because that is also the protection, and then you start your own path, and then you start looking inside. But that's the process of the humanity, and yes, we all have to pass that transition, because that is what is needed to be awake, mm-hmm. to be aware of this experience, this spiritual experience that we are living here in this life.
Yeah, to feel it transcended, Yes. And I had another question for you about that, because you mentioned that when you were mentioning that we are looking for the father, right away, and we can see the father as a masculine energy, right, the sunlight. And since we are babies, the first thing that we're looking is for that, right, or who is the other person that was talking to me, but it wasn't the person that I'm with. It wasn't my mom's voice, right? Because for what I know, we perceive the mother's voice in a different way because we're inside, right? Besides that, we're connected in different ways with the mother because we're inside already. But with the father that is external, you mentioned it, that is the day and during the sun, like this with the sun, right? We put it with the sun energy. Can you share a little bit more of that masculine energy? Because then we understand that we're coming from a mom, right? That we have to connect with a masculine energy, but how will that work with a man, which is already naturally in their masculine energy? That's kind of intrigues me, because it's naturally we'll have both energies, but women tend to be already pretty connected with our feminine energy. already, right? And then we challenge with finding a balance between the masculine and the feminine. How would that be seen as a man or as a regular being to incorporate the masculine?
Well, we all have a feminine side and a masculine side inside in our brains and in our unconscious programs. Okay.
Yes.
So it's like first we need to find our own balance, because sometimes we as a woman, we are in a masculine program. So we are unbalanced because of the patriarchal. I don't know then how to say that. Patriarchal.
Patriarchy. Yeah. Patriarchy. Yes.
Patriarchy. Yes.
Yes.
You know, many women have to release their feminine program because they were in danger. You know, they were in danger because of the aggressiveness of the man, the abuse, the authoritarianism, the sexual abuse that brought all this patriarchal system. Yeah. And so women, in order to survive, have to masculine side ourselves. And we adopted like new ways of surviving, and like being stronger, like being competing with men and anyway in any forms. Yes. So with this, it was like a discompensation between the feminine and the masculine energies in the world. So that's why more guys, men, became also homosexual, because the planet needed balance with the energies, because it was like too masculine, too much masculine energy. So even women were in a masculine program. So it was needed like more feminine energy. So it's been like discompensated the world. And now in this era, the woman, that is part of my call. When you say before the purpose of the call, I think that is part of my call. It's to awake the notion, the feeling, the energy of the feminine program, the sacred feminine. So that means to recognize we as a woman that the feminine side of ourselves is very important and it's very powerful, but it's not powerful to over like to impose over man. It's powerful to have control in our own positions, feeling, emotions, actions. It's a powerful that the sacred feminine gives to ourselves to recover who we are from the beginning of the world. And from the beginning of the world, the woman was the goddess. The woman was the regent. The woman was the queen, was the priestess. So we lost that for many, many years. And we thought that we were part of the man and that we had to obey the man's law, when at the beginning of the world was different. The first mystical, the first spiritual ceremony, ritual that exists in the world was to the goddess of the moon, was to the goddess of the womb, because the woman has an extreme powerful power that comes from the womb. The womb it's capable to alchemize the energy of the man and transform it into love. So we are the one who are called to preserve the love of humanity, the generosity, the compassion. So we have to retake that because the planet is needing this. So when you ask me about how can be then the relationship between man and woman and the masculine and the feminine, it has to be in a balanced way. It has to be in an equal way, but not equal as a way the feminist people see equality, because it's equal in the sense that we complement to each other. We both have a beautiful gift to share to each other. So man has some biological conditions, like that he understands very well, and that doesn't have to change. What he needs is to understand and to surround. That's a good, nice word for you. Surround to the sacred feminine, because it's the woman, the one who gives this love and can activate the sacred masculine. Is the sacred feminine who activates the sacred masculine, because it's this feminine energy that can transform the other energy and become illumination. This is a very old ceremony rituals, and long time ago, even men and women used to make love like a ritual, like a ceremony in front of in a circle of a sacred sexuality. And that was very powerful because all the people around will get that energy, that explosion that comes with the orgasm between a man and a woman in a sacred sexuality. So I'm not saying that we have to do this like many in the past time, but we definitely have to go to the concept of the sacred sexuality with our partners, and make them know to be aware that when we share sexuality, we are creating. That's a sacred moment. That is where we have the sacred union between the masculine and the feminine. And so every time more, the men are going to start retaking also this sacred feminine concept in their lives. So that way they can appreciate more the relationship with their mothers, with the sisters, with the daughters, and of course with their partners, with the wife, because it's a concept that have to be like back into man. But to be in order for that to happen, we, the women of the world, have to be the one who have to activate this. Yeah. So we first need to heal ourselves, heal our wombs, because in our wombs are all the memories of our lineage, of the moms and the grandma moms, and then about the suffering, the sexual abuse, everything, all those memories we have in our wombs. So we need to start working our wombs and healing. And then when we heal our wombs, which is the darkness, well, the creations can happen, because creations only can happen in the darkness. So when we heal our darkness and we accept our darkness, then we can up that kundalini to our heart and receive the light with love. And when we have that light in our heart, because we're clean and we're clear in our womb, then we can share that light with others, and we can penetrate man, because a man penetrates us through our womb, but we penetrate man through the heart.
Yeah.
And then when a man has been penetrated through his heart, then the energy goes up to the crown and gets the illumination. So when a man gets illuminated, he shared that light to his partner. So a woman receives the illumination from the man. But in order for a man to be illuminated, the man needs the love of the woman.
Yeah.
So this is like a cycle. It's an eight-shaped cycle. So that's why we need to be awake and to be joined, sacred feminine and sacred masculine. That is, it sounds simple, but it needs to be,
There's a lot of healing involved in that. It sounds simple, but it does.
Healing and feeling. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Especially about holding that space, from pure space from your heart, right? It creates I guess from everybody's different. I don't know, from many women, but it could be very overwhelming if you haven't already created that space for yourself, for your darkness and your light, to be yourself and forgive yourself constantly. Because in my case, for example, when I had that experience, that deep connection with my heart, I was already in my path of self-discovery for years. It just happened unexpectedly. I wasn't looking for it. It just naturally happened as a consequence, right? Of I forgot about my lightness. And I truly, truly thought that I was just darkness. I was like, maybe I never had a light inside of myself.
God bless you. God bless you because of that.
Yeah, I really dropped the idea of being like having a happy ending life or being perfect. Or I dropped it and I said, you know what?
That's not the light. Perfection is not the light.
Right. And well, I didn't know by then, right? But I work on my karma. It's like, at least I'm going to feel light. At least I want to feel healthy in a way that I could, in all the ways I could possibly feel. As I started doing that, of course, I started doing with my body what I could see, but everything goes inside, right? And then I found myself healing my relationship with my father, with my grandpa, with my mom, with all the people that surround you, that are the closest to you. And that was a consequence. I never really went for that, but the consequence of working my darkness and accepting my dark feelings and accepting all my poor actions in the past and honor them, even though it's like, 20 years ago, who cares? But I did that and it wasn't right. And I want to apologize. I don't care if you deserve it or not. This is not about that anymore, but it's about me feeling peace inside of myself, right? And that, but what I want to share here with other women that probably are seeing this is that for me was very, very loving. It was a very loving experience that once I connected with that, I already had that womb, that external womb. I felt like I was creating my external womb, right? Self-discovery was already a lifestyle, right? And the healing process of knowing my cycles and knowing that when it's time to heal, it's time to, carve in, create space, get out of the noise and love myself. It was loving because it never, like, actually connecting with my heart is not like the story ended up there. It took it to another level of healing, another level, right? It connects you with your ancestors and all the other dimensions that you're like, wow, this is never going to end. But now I know how to love myself. Now I can do with my light and with my darkness all combined, and I can celebrate my wholeness because I know I'm going to go through it not alone. I'm just going to hold this that is inside myself. But I want to add that you do those. One of the things you do is that you are hosting those kind of events for healing the wombs, right? And I'm so curious about that. I'm sure you can share about a little bit more how it works, the length of that, what's the result, or is there anything you can share with those women at home that maybe we can start doing something domestically, and in our own space?
Well, yes, I'm doing the circle of the womb healing. Yeah. And also, every circle is different because it depends of the energy of the woman who comes that day. Because sometimes it's more young people on the older time is woman in the menopause. It depends of the energy because there is always different things to work in that. But nevertheless, it's a great experience every time, and we become a womb, and then so that way we can listen. What are the needs of our wombs? Because sometimes we are in our heads, and then when we are in our heads, we talk and talk and talk and give a lot of explanations and give a lot of arguments, and we say, we're fine, we're perfectly fine, and I don't want this, I don't want that guy, I'm not talking about this anymore, I stop suffering. But that is only in our head. Mm-hmm. So what we do in order to heal, we have to become the womb. And once we become the womb with different protocols and ways to do it in a therapy way, so then we can listen. What are the needs? And sometimes the needs of the womb are very, very simple.
Yeah.
Sometimes the womb only wants to be listened or to be caring, or just to be part of your life. Sometimes we leave the womb outside, like it's another department,
Yeah. That happens to me sometimes. Like, talk to the womb. No.
Yeah, and that is like the main source of our divineness as woman comes from the womb. That is the cáliz, that's what we call the Santo Grial. That's what we call the this vessel where we
vessel,
put the vessel where we put our sacred waters. That's what
oh, the vessel. Yes,
the vessel where we put that keeps our water, or also our blood. And the blood means everything. The blood, it's our lineage. The blood is our family in all the ways. Also our descendants, our daughters, and our kids, our children. Everything, it's content there on the womb. Even if we don't have kids, or even if our kids are big and older, the womb keeps keeping them, because the womb is a symbol of the mother, and all women are mothers, even if they don't have kids, because they have a womb. Even if they don't have the reproduction organs anymore because they have surgery, they still have an energetic womb. So what we do in these circles is work with that and learn how to listen the womb and how to please the needs of our wombs. And we do that in a circle with other women, because when we are together, we increase the energy of our vitality as women, as in medicine. As a medicine woman, we are medicine women. And when we are together, this is more powerful, and we can comprehend better, our sister, and understand why she's going through, things that are happening to her, and we can help to each other. So that's what we do. And we also dance, because dancing is the movements that give life to our bodies and to the womb, because that is the meditation of the womb. It's movements, because it has water, so the water needs to move to feel alive. So we do different things. Yeah.
Beautiful explanation. Have been doing belly dancing for a long time. I used to be an instructor back in the time in Venezuela.
Nice. Very nice.
And then I just started again here in Canada in January, after many years not teaching anymore. And then it was so beautiful how I saw my cycles just aligning perfectly with the classes. So I know after one class, I'm just gonna go into my period right away, because they are just aligned with the same structure of what I teach. And what I don't teach anymore, because I usually teach 2 classes in a row, so it's a lot of dancing. And then when there's a day off, then I can see how my cycle is like driving me nuts. Like, you need to move, you need to dance for 2 hours straight, which I always have been dancing, but not that at that time, and that, I haven't done that in the last couple of years, basically since I became a mom. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like that structure anymore. It was like, I could go outside and dance on a party or any occasion, but it wasn't once a week, 2 hours for sure at nighttime. And now my body, once a week, the same day, feels like it's time to do it. So I can relate too much about that. I can relate too much to that story, feeling the water and the movement, how that synchronize with our cycles as well as a woman, right? And that synchronizes us right away with the water we're drinking and how we're drinking it. Sometimes we drink more water. I'm realizing that has a lot to do with the cycle. And then sometimes I don't feel like drinking 3 liters of water anymore. And it's just so aligned with the cycle. That's so beautiful that you're creating that space for us to connect with our well-being. And you said something that really resonates to me, because sometimes I feel like it's a separate department. It's a separate department that I have to take care of it and I have to connect. But it's so true to be conscious about that. It's a wholeness, right? And keeping it every day is not separate to us. It's not something like we need something so like a sacred ceremony. It's beautiful if you have that opportunity, but if you don't, still have that little space, because like you're saying, is the times that I hear the message is so simple. It's so basic, like sleep more hydration, or breathe more, do more relaxing movements. It's very simple things. It's nothing that I have that it will take me years to do. It's something most of the time you things that I can do right at the moment. Right at the moment. Right. Yes. Thank you so much for sharing that story with us, because I'm sure many women are going to find it very useful. Any other insights that you could share with us about healing our wombs?
Hold on, because the image just went to another place. I don't know what's going on. Okay.
Don't worry.
Okay. Well, sorry. What were you saying?
I'm wondering if you have any other insights about healing our wombs.
Well, I work also with biodecoding.
Yes.
So I attend many cases with people that have symptoms or pathologies in the womb, and everyone has their own particular issues to solve. But as you were saying before, for me, one of the most important lessons that the illnesses bring to people, it's learn how to love ourselves better, because loving is a decision and healing is a consequence. So once we start loving to each other and accepting to each other more, in that way we can start healing, because the base of the healing starts from accepting and loving. And many of the pathologies of the womb are related with the no acceptance of being alone. For instance, the no acceptance of being rejected for a man, the no acceptance of not be able to be a mom, the no acceptance of losing someone that we love very much, so the attachment, and all those kind of emotions that are very human. Of course, we are human, and this is surviving. This is the way we learn how to survive. But being aware of that, it's a tremendous step to start healing, because sometimes I say, especially with women that have tumors on their wombs, I always say that that tumor has a name and a last name. Sometimes it's a result of someone that we don't want to lose, that we lost, but we are refusing to accept that. And that is painful. I know that is painful, because it could be not only a man, it could be a son, a daughter, a pet that we love very much, a project. Because in our wombs are our projects, and kids are projects, and also marriage. But marriage is a project. So once we learn this and we start being more compassionate with ourselves, and we start attending our needs, then we can release those pathologies, we can release those tumors, and comprehend that they are there for a reason. They are there to remind us that we are not doing consciously what we should do. So unconsciously, the symptom or the illness come to us to open our eyes and start paying more attention to our body. And especially with people with cancer, I see, I have like some cases of women with cancer in the uterus. And I always said, God bless that you have right now this master in front of you, because that is the master of the diseases, because it comes to you to show you how to transform yourself. And if you don't transform yourself, you won't heal. Because that is a when someone has a cancer in the uterus, we're talking right now about the womb and the uterus, but anywhere, any part of the body, that is a very aggressive way to tell you, hey, do something now. So when that happens, and people start like realizing why they has created this, because we create the illnesses, we create the diseases ourselves, we created that's part of the unconscious way to survive. So when we start being aware of that, and what we did we create this? So then we realized that we need to look inside. And we come back to the beginning of the show today. We realize that we have to start looking inside and not outside. Because inside are all the answers. Everything you're looking for is inside. And sometimes we attach very much to other people, to our husbands, to our works, jobs, to our roles, as a entrepreneur, as a host, as a whatever you do. We attach to that, and it happens that when you don't have that, when you lose that, then you feel like you're empty. And then that could be a situation where a tumor can start, when people, it's not accepting that as you said before, because it's a cycle. Things has a beginning and an end, and nothing is forever, not even the relationships. So we need to start accepting that everything is a cycle around us, especially around women, because the woman it's a moon, and we go with the moon cycles. So we need to start accepting ourselves as people that can start projects, end projects, have relationship, end up relationship. Everything has a learning inside. And once you learn that, you also have to accept that you can be ready for another step, for another situation. And we have to learn how to release that, because if we don't release that, our body will stay with that inside and will create like tumors, kystes, I don't know how to say that in English, and different, pathologies that we might not understand why they are there or what for, but that's the reason why they're there to remind us that we need to release things and accept that we are renewing ourselves every time.
Every time, as you said it before so beautifully, right? Love is a decision, and healing is a consequence. So that's so simple, right? Sometimes, and I found myself this in the past, putting my attention into healing when it was backwards, when it was actually accepting whatever was happening at the moment and loving myself regardless. And then the healing happens right away, right? Because it's just like, oh, you release whatever you were holding back, you release it. And as a consequence, everything is love. You're healing because you're not attached to what you thought it was, your role sometimes, right? We attach to roles or whatever it is. And then at the moment you find yourself in that you need to heal, there's something that is wrong, like you're saying, you're sick or you are disbalanced. I find like most of the times when I'm on balance, I find the only way that I can find like balance is to look inside, right? And maybe I grab my inner self tells me to grab maybe some specific food, some specific routines or like exercises, whatever it is. But I can just hear that because I have this connection. Otherwise, it wouldn't happen. Otherwise, you cannot access to that. So again, you go back to inside. Yes, you are ended up doing it outside as a part of that illusion that we are experiencing here in the matter. But it's because you connect with your inner self. Because if you are just in your ego, or you are so lost in your role, same thing, right? It's going to happen. Well, if I'm this, then I should do this and that, right? If I'm a mom, I should sleep 4 hours. I should work 8, and I should be cooking and cleaning 6 hours, right? And then you get stuck in the role. Same thing. You're not looking inside. You're not looking what you're needing. You're you are looking for the external expectations once again.
That's right.
Thank you so much, Patricia. I don't know if you want to share anything else, because it was pretty obvious that you found your missing piece, right? And everything, of course, is to be self-centered for you and go inside. Thank you so much for sharing about all the womb healing experience. I think that's something I'm very interested in learning more, because I feel like there's so much layers, especially what you said. It resonated to me a lot. Is where the projects, the place where the projects happens. And this is something I have been kind of discerning lately, but I couldn't put a word on it. It was like, there's something here that, whatever I was needing to do, I cannot just ignore it. And it's not the ego, but it's weird because it feels in the lower self, right? Because it feels like it's part of your lower chakras, but you just explained it so well. It's part of the projects, part of the creation that we are meant to do as a woman.
That's right.
So thank you for bringing that up as well. And I would love to have you later on in the second season, where it's going to call In Service. So I would love to have you back to share with all of us about what you do and how do you ended up doing it. Of course, that's a result of looking inside, right? But how, all the little details, the insights that are always so inspiring to others.
Well, thank you so much to you for the invitation. This is how we say it in Spanish, estoy a la orden. Thank you so much. Gracias.
Thank you. And, let's keep surrendering.